Shots ring through campus. Trade wars shake global markets. Peace talks hang in doubt. Welcome to AI News Brew's Week in Review for April 20th, 2025. I'm your host, bringing you comprehensive coverage of the week's most impactful stories. Today, we'll be examining several major developments that have shaped the news landscape. We'll begin with the tragic shooting at Florida State University that has left the campus community reeling and sparked renewed discussions about campus security. We'll then turn to Canadian politics, where Prime Minister Mark Carney is navigating his first general election campaign while managing international relations. Our coverage continues with the latest developments in Ukraine, where despite a declared Easter ceasefire, violence persists and diplomatic tensions are escalating. We'll explore an unusual cultural convergence as 420 celebrations align with both Easter and Passover, creating unique celebrations nationwide. Finally, we'll examine several landmark cases before the Supreme Court that could reshape American policy on immigration, education, and healthcare. Stay with us as we delve into these stories and their implications for our world. A tragic shooting at Florida State University in Tallahassee has left 2 dead and 6 injured, with authorities identifying 20-year-old Phoenix Eichner as the alleged shooter. The incident, which occurred in the Student Union building, involved a former service weapon belonging to Eichner's stepfather, a Leon County Sheriff's deputy, raising questions about weapon security in law enforcement households. The university has responded by suspending classes through Friday, postponing athletic events, and establishing counseling services for the campus community, while federal investigators have joined local law enforcement to investigate the circumstances. This marks the second major shooting incident for the university, which previously experienced a similar tragedy at Strozier Library in 2014, and has reignited discussions about campus security protocols and firearm storage practices. In Canadian politics this week, Prime Minister Mark Carney continues to navigate a complex political landscape as he leads his first general election campaign since assuming office in March. The former Bank of Canada governor, who won the Liberal leadership race just weeks ago, is simultaneously managing heightened trade tensions with the United States while working to secure his position in the upcoming federal election. Recent polling data suggests Carney maintains a lead over his primary challenger. Liberties Sachai, Pieroa, Pierre Pueblo Livroa, following last Thursday's English language debate in Montreal. The debate highlighted clear policy distinctions between the two leaders, particularly regarding approaches to international trade and domestic economic management. Meanwhile, early indicators from advanced polling stations, particularly in Vancouver, suggest this election is drawing unusually high voter engagement. The electoral landscape itself has seen some notable changes, including the reintroduction of the Edmonton Northwest riding for the first time since 1996, adding an interesting dynamic to the national campaign. As Carney works to balance his duties as Prime Minister with his campaign responsibilities, his extensive financial and economic background has become a central focus of his platform, particularly as he addresses ongoing trade discussions with the United States. The situation in Ukraine continues to grow increasingly complex, with multiple significant developments unfolding this week. Despite Russian President Vladimir Putin's announcement of a 30-hour Easter ceasefire, Ukrainian officials have documented over 400 instances of Russian shelling, particularly in the Dnipropetrovsk and Kherson regions, with a devastating toll on religious infrastructure that includes 640 destroyed religious sites and 67 clergy members killed or tortured. A Russian missile strike on Sumy has resulted in at least 31 deaths and more than 100 injuries, including children, further straining peace negotiations as European leaders condemn the attack as a war crime. The diplomatic landscape is also shifting, with U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio suggesting America may soon move on from peace efforts without substantial progress, while President Trump has warned of potentially stepping back from negotiations. Adding to these developments, Steve Witkoff has emerged as a key figure in the administration's foreign policy team, though his proposed plan for Ukraine has raised concerns among European officials due to its apparent lack of U.S.-backed security guarantees. In a notable turn of events, Turkey has announced plans to send peacekeeping troops to Ukraine, a move that appears to be part of President Erdogan's broader strategy to strengthen ties with the European Union, coming at a crucial time as the international community struggles to maintain support for Ukraine while pursuing diplomatic solutions. In what can only be described as a cosmic alignment of celebrations, this year's cannabis enthusiasts are finding themselves sharing their beloved 420 holiday with both Easter Sunday and the final day of Passover. The unusual convergence has sparked some remarkably creative festivities across the nation. In Los Angeles, traditional Easter egg hunts are getting a grown-up twist with what organizers are calling Easter nug hunts, while New York's cannabis dispensaries are offering kosher-style THC gummies for those wrapping up their Passover observations. The origins of 420 trace back to a group of high school friends in San Rafael, California during the 1970s, and now, nearly 5 decades later, the holiday has evolved into something that would have been unimaginable to those teenagers. Perhaps the most entertaining fusion of these overlapping celebrations can be found in Portland, where a Blaze and Praise drag brunch is combining all three thoisthow. One gloriously unique event. It's a perfect illustration of how cannabis culture has woven itself into the fabric of mainstream American life, creating new traditions while respectfully incorporating elements of long-standing religious and cultural celebrations. The United States Supreme Court finds itself navigating multiple landmark cases that could fundamentally reshape American policy across several fronts. While the court has temporarily halted Venezuelan migrant deportations under the Alien Enemies Act, particularly in light of the controversial wrongful deportation of Maryland resident Kilmar Abrego Garcia to El Salvador, this represents just one piece of a broader constitutional puzzle. Looking ahead to April 22nd, the justices will tackle 2 additional high-stakes cases, one examining whether elementary schools must notify parents about LGBTQ+ content in curricula, and another, Kennedy v. Braidwood, challenging the Affordable Care Act's preventive care provisions on religious grounds. These cases, touching on immigration enforcement, educational policy, religious freedom, and healthcare access, collectively underscore the court's pivotal role in shaping fundamental aspects of American life and governance, with decisions that could affect millions of citizens across the nation. In a landmark ruling that's sending ripples through British society, the United Kingdom Supreme Court has unanimously determined that the terms woman and sex in the Equality Act specifically refer to biological sex. This watershed decision carries immediate implications for access to single-sex spaces nationwide, affecting female-only facilities, from restrooms to hospital wards and sports teams. While women's rights groups celebrate the ruling, it has ignited protests and heated debates about transgender rights throughout the UK. The Supreme Court emphasized that transgender individuals remain protected from discrimination under existing laws, though transgender women may face new restrictions in accessing certain female-only spaces and services. The ruling's influence stretches beyond immediate practical considerations, potentially affecting gender recognition policies in Scotland and similar debates in other countries, with legal experts and advocacy groups now closely monitoring how this interpretation will shape future policies and daily life across the United Kingdom. In a week dominated by political turbulence, President Trump's administration has navigated complex challenges both at home and abroad. While rejecting Israel's proposed strike on Iran's nuclear facilities in favor of diplomatic talks in Oman, the administration simultaneously grapples with domestic issues, including a $2.2 billion funding freeze at Harvard University and a lawsuit from California over tariff policies. The situation has grown more complex with Trump's suggestion to remove Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell, a constitutional crisis over the deportation case of Maryland resident Kilmar Abrego Garcia, and the controversial pardons of approximately 2,500 January 6th rioters, some of whom are now considering runs for public office. These developments occur against a concerning economic backdrop, as the US dollar has plummeted 9% against major currencies since mid-January, reaching a 3-year low. Adding to the administration's challenges, Steve Witkoff's emergence as a key foreign policy figure has drawn criticism, particularly regarding his proposed Ukraine plan, which critics say lacks crucial U.S. security guarantees. As we conclude our broadcast on this significant day, one that holds deep meaning for many as both Easter Sunday and the midst of Passover, we find ourselves reflecting on the profound challenges and inspiring moments shaping our world. In Belarus, brave journalists continue to risk their lives and freedom in pursuit of truth, while the tragic events at Florida State University and the ongoing conflict in Ukraine weigh heavily on our hearts. Yet amid these difficulties, we see remarkable resilience as communities unite to address the national measles outbreak and prepare for tomorrow's Earth Day celebrations. These actions remind us that hope and renewal remain powerful forces for positive change, whether through technological advancement, humanitarian aid, or the unwavering pursuit of truth. As the spring season unfolds, bringing with it nature's own reminder of renewal, our commitment to bringing you objective, fact-based coverage remains steadfast, even as we acknowledge the pain and loss many are experiencing. Understanding our world is, after all, the first step toward improving it. Thank you for joining us on AI News Brew. Your support enables our continued commitment to independent research and factual reporting. Follow us on social media and our website for round-the-clock updates on these and other breaking stories. Until next time, stay informed and engaged.